Hey guys, it hasn't been a while. You read the video title, so you should be able to tell we're going to be talking about some cool cats. This video will be a bit shorter than average, but I'll explain myself in the outro. Anyway, time for some cats. Let's start things off with a somewhat famous cat, Unsinkable Sam. Unsinkable Sam was a Navy cat who first served on the Bismarck. He was on the Bismarck when it sank, but as his name suggests, he was found chilling hours later by the HMS Cossack. They didn't know his name at the time, so they decided to call him Oscar. He was chilling on the Cossack for a few months when it was torpedoed and sank west of the Gibraltar. This is when he earned his nickname, Unsinkable Sam. He was then transported to the HMS Ark Royal. This ship also sunk, and he survived yet again. He's described as angry, but quite unharmed. This cat had been through enough sailing, and he lived the rest of his life just chilling. This cat had 3 name changes, and survived 3 ships crashing. He has the life of a Metal Gear character, but he's just a cat who's just kind of chilling. Though he certainly does have the eyes of a cat who witnessed about 2,500 people die. Next up is a somewhat lesser-known warship cat named Able Sea Cat Simon, the cat who killed Mao Zedong. The child soldier who originally found the sea cats, last name was Hickenbottom, nothing to do with the story, that's just a stupid last name. He served for the British during the Chinese Communist Revolution. Sam was a mouser who was the ship's mascot and helped to keep rations and morale high. Most of the leadership liked the cat and kind of let him do what he wanted, including snuggling up and napping in commanding officers' hats. When in the Yangtze River, he got shot by an artillery piece with a PLA. While injured, he survived the initial blast. Also, the article nonchalantly mentions the captain dying while talking about the cat getting injured. Just kind of like, captain died, more importantly, Kitty. Some recovered and earned the rank of Able Seaman, changed to Able Sea Cat because duh, and the Dickinson Medal. While in the service of the HMS Amethyst, it picked up some rather large and aggressive rats, one of whom was named Mao Zedong. I know him not being an actual assassin cat is kind of disappointing, but this is the equivalent of naming a rat Saddam Hussein or something. Simon died of his wounds in 1949. Sad. Next is a somewhat familiar space. Aspid, the cat who helped to decipher Mayan. When Aspen was teaching her kitten how to hunt, the linguist Yuri Kurnozov had a breakthrough while trying to decipher the Mayan written language. I've got it. It says you should like and subscribe. I had to fit it in here somehow. He credited the cat in the manuscript and submitted his photo for a paper. He would put the cat next to his face, and they would crop it out. Next is Chester, or FDC Willard, the cat that wrote a physics paper. Jack Hetherington was a physicist, and he made a paper titled 2, 3, and 4 Atom Exchange Effects in BCC3. He wrote everything in the first person plural, but wrote the paper alone. Rather than changing the paper, he simply added a new author, FDC Willard, or Felis Domesticus Chester Willard, which is the name of his dad. He got away with it and submitted. He decided to reveal who the author was by giving out signed copies of the paper with his signature and his cat's paw prints. Later, the owner gave sole credit to the cat for his paper on solid helium. Sadly, it would require me to go to Denmark to get a copy of the paper, and it would be in French. So we're going to have to trust the cat on this one. Also, if you're wondering, the cat has a Google Scholar page and is sourced 110 times. Also, as a joke, the American Physics Society said that all animal-made papers would be free. As a joke. I hate academia. I hate academia. I hate academia. Apparently there are a slew of cats and other animals who are given awards because of their owners, typically exposing degree mills and other fraudulent degree things, which is very funny. Examples of this being several cats with MBAs and dogs with psychotherapy degrees. Next up is Calvin. Charles Dudley Warner, a friend of Mark Twain, wrote a comically long obituary for a cat named Calvin. I was originally planning on reading the entire thing, but the obituary is the same length as the entire script of the last video. Like, this is a fucking long essay about a cat. Here's a brief excerpt from the story. His origin and ancestry were shrouded in mystery. Even his age was a matter of pure conjecture. Although he was a Maltese race, I have reason to suppose he was the American and British by birth, as he was certain in sympathy. Calvin was given to me 8 years ago by Mrs. Stowe. She knew nothing about his age or order. He walked around the house in and out, great unknown, once became his home, as if he had always been a friend of the family. He appeared to have artistic and literary taste, and was as if he inquired at the door the residence of the author of Uncle Tom's Cabin, and upon being assured that it was bad to dwell there, this is, of course, fanciful, for his descendants were wholly unknown, but in his time he could hardly have been any household where he would not have heard Uncle Tom's Cabin talked about. When he came to Mrs. Stowe, he was as large as he ever was, and apparently old as he ever been, yet there was in him no appearance of age. He was in the happy maturity of his powers. And it was rather difficult to say in front of his maturity, he had found the secret of perpetual youth. And it was difficult to believe that he would never have aged, as was to imagine that he ever been mature in youth. This is just a brief little bit of it. You can read it if you want to. The cat didn't do much, although according to the obituary,
The cat was very kind and had no bad habits. Next is the feline thespian Pepper, who was the first ever movie star cat, who was originally found on the street in a set of comedy movies. Eventually, they gave her a role in several comedic films. But she starred in silent movies, so all the films are public domain, and you can check them out if you want to. She was a phenomenal pet actress, and one of the few pet actresses that were not killed in filming. Yeah, don't look up how many animals die in modern day animal movies. Next we got Oscar, a cat who would essentially deathmark motherfuckers. Oscar was a therapy cat for an elderly home. He generally disliked people, but he would always snuggle with people when they were close to death. No one knew how the cat knew people were about to die, but I personally think the cat was just a serial killer. Next we got Rusik, a cat who died in the line of service. Rusik was a police cat who would help to sniff for illegal fish in the Caspian Sea. He was hit by a car that had illegal cargo already found in it. While the official report says it was unlikely it was a hit, the death of Rusik happened after the carrying out of an assassination of a police cat earlier with a poisoned mouse. This likely means that they were fucking hitmen who specialize in killing cats to benefit poachers. Okay then. Crimean Tom, a cat that led British soldiers to battle supplies that saved them from starvation during the Crimean War. They were able to find the food as the cat had grown larger, which meant he was eating larger mice, which means that mice were feeding on hidden rations. They followed Tom one day and were able to continue the war because of him. Also, he was originally found between two dead bodies during a bombing. A man picked up the cat, and the little guy was unbothered by both the corpses, the gunfires, the bombing, and the dude picking him up. Here are some silly little guys that I want to include, but were not notable enough for their own paragraph. Mrs. Chippy, who was another ship cat, was a guy. Don't know how they got that wrong. There's a talking cat who got paid to say a few select phrases. The owners were forced to get a business license. However, they didn't want to, as they said that would violate the cat's freedom of speech. After a long court battle, the court essentially said that the cat had no freedom of speech because he's a cat, but even if he did, jus tetri, which is a trial on behalf of another party, was stupid because then the cat could represent himself. Machak, who was a black cat, was the reason that Tesla got into electricity because he played with his fur and it stuck to his hands. And Tesla, as a young boy, was fascinated by this. The Gresham cat incident, a woman took her Siamese cat hostage. The cops just shot her. But don't look up H.P. Lovecraft's cat's name though. A lot of these cats got taxidermied, which is really weird. Then again, we did it to Lennon. Still weird. Like, I don't get taxiderming anyway, but like, imagine if we just stuffed Eisenhower's skin and put him in a museum. It's disturbing. I decided to keep this video short because 1, I want to get this video quickly, and 2, the cats are oftentimes not too interesting and it's their owners doing stuff, but some of these guys were interesting in their own right. Anyway, I'll see y'all in the next video, which hopefully is released in August. Peace.